This video is to introduce the radicals that we're going to be using to write characters in the clothing unit. So the first radical is clothes, and we actually haven't seen this since freshman year when we learned our first 30 radicals. And we're finally going to use it. So if you remember, it originally looked like a shirt, and all Chinese shirts were tied at the side, tied at the bottom. And then the character evolved and then became more stylized. And it's evolved to look like this, and then its alternate form is written on its side like this. I think it looks like a girl wearing a kimono. So you have the girl's head and her shoulders and her hands in front, and then a big bow in the back and her legs at the bottom. And that is the clothing radical. Next is the cave radical. And the cave radical starts with a roof, indicating the space or a shelter, and then the 8 character indicating a separation, a space that's created by a separation of rock, the cave radical. And we see the cave radical illustrated here in the character for to wear. It's at the top because your clothes make a kind of shelter or cave that you climb into. We also see it in the character of kong, empty, tu, suddenly, which has a dog radical springing out of a cave, or chuang, window, a cave in your house. The next character is tooth, ya, the tooth radical, and here it's been illustrated as the gums and the tooth. Originally it looked like 2 teeth biting together, and then they got turned on their side, and we get this shape. You just have to memorize it. It's also part of the character to wear. The inch radical we've seen before in this character. Do you remember what this is? I'll give you a hint. We see it a lot in this question. It's 对不对? Correct, not correct. The inch radical looks like this. And the colors radical we learned just last week with colors. It's the colors or shadows radical. It looks like a little rainbow. We saw it in 颜色, colors, or 电影, movies, electric shadows. The leather radical we've never seen before. My student illustrated it here beautifully as a dead cow. You see its horns, its ears, and then the body sliced apart. Shi, the arrow radical, we've seen before in characters like 知道 has the arrow radical, 医生 has the arrow radical, and short, 短 has the arrow radical.